Welcome back to the dojo, everybody. This is True Talk with TRUMOTION, where a couple of guys talk about how to make the world a better place. Hopefully make your day a little bit better in the process. My name is Mark, followed by my co-host, Stephen.
Hey, good morning.
All right, let's get things kicked off. Well, first off, we were supposed to have a few guests today, but apparently they are not arriving until tonight, not tomorrow, last night.
Or this afternoon. So. It's just us.
Yeah,
That's
so
okay.
It's just us. We were supposed to have your brothers in the
have them
studio.
another time.
Yeah, we'll have them another time. So, glad they're able to travel. They're from Ohio, right? Or at least two of them.
Well, they're living in Ohio.
Living from Ohio. Let me rephrase.
They still spent most of their life here.
Were they born here?
No.
Where were they? Were you guys all born in different places?
Yes.
Okay, because you were born in California.
That's right. Yeah, that's what my parents are contractors for, not the military, but for like the cell phone towers in the 90s, right? So all those were being set up, and so my dad was moving around
quite a bit
as an RF engineer, and he, took his wife with him and had kids in different states.
Where were your brothers born?
Well, they were born in Nevada, Florida, and then the youngest was born here in Utah.
Okay. So you've lived in, obviously, those four places. Have you lived anywhere else?
I've lived in a lot of places, yeah. I've lived in Texas. I've lived in Kansas, Illinois, Colorado.
Okay.
Utah twice. Three, and then a couple places back east. Florida as well.
Okay. Dang.
Yeah.
I've only lived in two places. I was born in California, and then we moved here when I was like 4, and I've been here ever since. So what was it like moving all around to all those different places?
I didn't know any better because I was kind of young, but it was definitely kind of rough. Like it was hard to keep friends.
Yeah. Especially if you're what was it like every year, every couple of years?
Every 18 months.
Wow. Okay.
So it was really pick up and go. It was interesting. I definitely had good experiences.
Yeah.
Definitely had things that have not to say affected me, but it's like, you don't have young childhood friends.
Yeah.
I was homeschooled, so it's like my friends were my family.
Yeah.
But
well, I mean, shoot, homeschool would probably make sense if you're like traveling around that much.
Yeah.
And honestly, I was homeschooled up until about 4th grade, and I loved it.
Yeah.
Like
I did too.
You could get your work done in half the time. You understood the work more, and then you had more time to like be active.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I remember we were typically
done. I'd still wait till before my dad got home because I had to get all my schoolwork done before my dad got home.
Yeah, I would always we would always go from like 8 to noon.
Oh wow!
And then after lunch, like we were done.
Yep.
You were done at that point, so that was really cool.
Good time.
I know you were young, but did you have like an area that you liked the most?
Yeah.
What was that?
It was here.
You liked Utah the most? Mm-hmm. Interesting.
I lived in Sugar House before I moved to South Jordan.
Uh-huh.
And I liked living in Sugar House because there was a neighborhood full of kids my age.
Oh. Okay.
It was a lot of fun.
My neighborhood growing up, we didn't have a whole lot of kids.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of kids in my childhood neighborhood now, but when I was growing up, it was a very old neighborhood.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, very old neighborhood. And most of the people that lived in the homes were elderly, or their kids were already moved out. And there was our neighbors, they did have kids my age, but they were kind of assholes.
Oh, wow.
So, like, we didn't really get along too much, and, it just wasn't a very good situation. They were the bishop's family.
Imagine that.
And they were kind of terrible. So,
oh, no.
Yeah. Yeah, we had that discussion the other day. It's like, man, I don't know what religion you believe in, but, like, every single one of the, like, pastors, kids are like super rebellious and kind of just, they're not what you would expect, so to speak. I don't know why that is, but yeah. So we'll have the brothers on a different time. So it'll be. I've met one of them.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't met the other two that moved to Ohio yet.
Yeah,
but
that's okay.
Yeah. It's like, is that a good or a bad thing?
Well,
it's just
what
a
you
thing.
Make of it.
It's just a thing. I was going to say your family seems to be very level-headed, and
you make people believe that.
Yeah, you make them believe that. It's a good front.
Yep.
Nice. That's the way. That's the way to do it.
Yep.
Keep them always guessing.
Keep them guessing.
Well, anyways, it's been a good week here in the dojo. We're just continuing to prep and get ready for tournament, and it'll be exciting. We have the sword seminar in 2 weeks.
Oh wow!
2 weeks from today, so that'll be a lot of fun. It'll be great to see everybody coming from out of town, and yeah, it'll be a great weekend. Really good weekend. But yeah, it's just it's been one of those, like, everybody's so focused on tournament, it's like you can't really think about anything else.
Mm-hmm.
So, but man, after tournament, we've got a lot of stuff coming up.
Yeah, it's like bam, bam, bam.
Yeah, the next, I would say 5 weeks, 5 to 6 weeks after tournament is just one thing after another.
Mm-hmm.
Well, tournament, picture day, ninja night, test. Then I think there's a Memorial weekend, then advanced black belt test. Whew, a lot of stuff coming up. But let's continue on with our show. Here comes our Liam's Facts. All right, so last week's question was, what was the national animal of Scotland?
Right.
And I thought I was going to be able to stump him on this one, but I was incorrect.
Really?
Master Lessons got it again. It is a unicorn.
That's wow.
Yes. Okay. And I was like, there's no way they can get this because unicorns aren't, well.
I've never assumed unicorns to be Scottish.
Yeah, or real. So, I mean, they could be.
Well, yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, that happens.
So, well, just like what Marcus in group class the other day, he's like, what's more believable, a unicorn or a hybrid?
Giraffe, leopard.
Yeah, zebra, leopard,
with a long
moose, giraffe. I was like, well, that's true. That's kind of like what giraffes are. So, but it is a unicorn.
Well done, Master Lessons.
Well done, Master Lessons. All right. I think I can get you stumped on this one. We'll see. The question this week is, what is the longest running Broadway show?
Ooh.
What is the longest running Broadway show? If you know the answer, leave it in the comments or email us at TrueTalkTuesdays@gmail.com, and we'll see if you're right. So I personally could have assumed it was this one, but I didn't know. A lot of people are going to assume it's another one because of a movie coming up or that's been out, but we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully I didn't give away too many hints on that one. But moving on to a word from our sponsor.
Yeah. TRUMOTION in motion, let's go. Gear up, stand tall, feel the flow. Kicking it strong with the best of the best. Streetwear fresh, put your style to the test. Karate vibes, yeah, we bring that heat. From tees to hoodies, keep it sharp, keep it sleek. T-shirt or hoodie, we got both. Subs for the grind, focus on growth. Stickers and swag, let the world know you rep style. Now let's go. TRUMOTION merch, yeah, we level up. Style so sharp, got that warrior's touch. Reppin' that swag, flex it, wear it proud. Support TRUTALKS and wear it loud. Discipline, power, the heart of the fight. Your fit's gotta match your unstoppable might. Tigers and dragons, bold on the sleeve. Step in the dojo, they know you don't leave. Oh, step up, don't wait. Rock that fit, let's elevate. TRUMOTION merch, yeah, we level up. Style so sharp, got that warrior's touch. Rocking that drip, yeah, you own the crowd. Support TRUTALKS and wear it loud. Yeah, we reppin' strong, no fear, no doubt. TRUMOTION merch shop is what it's all about.
Thank you, sponsor.
Thank you,
All right.
sponsor.
Here comes our top 5 list. All right. This week's top 5 is an interesting one because I actually really had to think about it, and I'm going to have to possibly like explain some of them.
Interesting.
But we'll see. We'll see. The top 5 this week is non-athletic competitive activities. Okay. So meaning like not like basketball, baseball, football, like wrestling. Traditional sports. Okay. So you got your top 5 for this?
I think I got my top 5.
All right. What do you got for your top 5?
Like you
may have to explain some of them.
On these.
Okay. So what do you got?
Number 1's pretty easy. It's strategy wargaming.
Okay.
With the miniatures on the tabletop.
Yeah.
That is very competitive. It's very non-athletic. I watch a lot of people play, and I play myself. Very, very fun. But also, it's like you can get into the weeds when you go into the rules. And
yeah.
It's like,
Yep.
Come on, man. I'm just trying to have a game. Number 2 is probably going to be video games.
Video games, okay.
Very non-athletic, but very competitive.
Yeah, there is a certain amount of like hand-eye coordination, and like you have to have coordination, but you don't have to have athleticism.
Right.
So,
number 3 is chess.
Chess
is a good one. I have a chess app on my phone. I like playing chess. Number 4, I'm running out of things. I'm like, I know 3. Okay, number 4 is going to be. I don't think I thought that far. I think I just had 3.
Well, let me tell you my list, and maybe it'll jar some stuff loose. I've got trivia.
Oh, nice.
Like any kind of trivia.
Trivia is always competitive too.
Yeah, because you're always trying to prove how smart you are. Hence why we have our Liam's Facts list.
Okay.
Cooking.
Okay.
Because you always have those cooking shows,
and they can get competitive.
Oh. I call it arguing, but some people would call it debating.
Oh, you like debating? You like arguing?
I don't necessarily like arguing, but I do like to have discussions that make people think.
Okay.
And maybe it'll make me think as well. Like I definitely don't mind having conversations like that, but as long as it stays like civil. Like I don't feel like I don't like to have conversations with people where I feel like I'm like in fight or flight mode.
Right.
We're like, dude, am I gonna have to
throw hands?
Yeah, are we gonna have to throw down with this or what? So as long as people can stay civil, like I don't mind having conversations and quote unquote debating / arguing with people. Now, if it's like you're threatening and you're like attacking personally, then it turns into an athletic competition, and I'm not going to lose one of those.
Right.
So. Now here's I've got one more, and then here's where we get like into the weeds. So one of them is like like you said, card games.
Oh, I've never said
categories. Games, oh my gosh! If you've been around my family playing categories, it is a very competitive thing, and it turns into the previous one, arguing / debating.
Oh wow!
So you can like kill 2 birds with 1 stone with that one. So. Now here's the ones where like I kind of have to justify. I've kind of lumped 3 into 1, but it's things like shooting, bowling, and golf. Now,
why are you saying those are non-athletic?
Here's my justification in those. If like old ladies can do them,
right,
or old men can do them, they're not very athletic. Now, does that not mean that you don't have to have some sort of coordination? No, like you do have to have coordination and some sort of physical ability to do them, but they're not like super athletic because you're doing it yourself, not like against somebody else.
Interesting.
That's my justification for it. And I love all 3 of them.
Okay.
Like I will go bowling with anybody at any time. I'll go golfing with anybody at any time. And if you want to go to the range, I'll go to the range with anybody at any time. Now, do you have to use like some sort of like physical movements? Yes, but then I go back to my original statement. If elderly people can do it. How athletic is it? That's my argument.
That's interesting.
So, because I've seen people on the golf course, and you're like,
how are they still standing?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I like this guy, John Daly.
Yes.
Have you ever heard of John Daly?
I've heard of him.
Okay, John Daly will drink a 6-pack, smoke a pack of smokes, and still shoot under par golfing.
Yes.
And I think he's awesome.
Yes.
Like, he's really good at it, but he would not consider himself an athlete.
Right.
Then in the same breath, you have somebody like Tiger Woods, who Tiger Woods is an athlete.
That's right.
So I personally don't think you need to be athletic to play golf, but you do have to have a level of physically understanding of how to move to play golf.
Okay.
I would dare say the same thing with bowling. I mean, how many times have you ever gone bowling and you see either like just non-athletic people chucking the ball down the lane or like elderly people? So
quite a few times.
And shooting, like I've taken my parents shooting.
Yeah.
At one point they were athletic, but not anymore.
They don't have to be.
So you just have to point and pull the trigger.
Okay.
So
I can accept those.
That's my justification behind those three. I know people are going to be like,
see, with me, and I would put shooting on my list.
Yeah.
But because I shoot big guns, it feels like I'm getting a workout. I'm sore the next day.
I was going to say, depending on what you're shooting, absolutely.
And it's like, oh man, I got to be athletic to do this.
Yeah, like if you're shooting big caliber handguns or
rifles,
big bore rifles. Yeah,
like my shoulders, they got to work out.
Yeah. I remember one of the first pistol classes we had with TRUMOTION. It was a 2-hour class. My shoulders were really, really sore the next day just from the act of drawing and pointing. It's like you did like 100 shoulder raises, front raises, that whole class. And it's like the gun itself maybe weighs 2 pounds, but you do that 100 some odd times. You're like, holy crap, why are my shoulders sore? Then you go to practice the next day and you're like, ow. Oh God, sorry. I know why now. So, but
nice.
I agree.
Okay, so shooting will make my list.
Okay.
And then I also like trivia. I think it's very competitive and don't have to be athletic for that. And then a runner-up for me will be Rubik's Cube.
Rubik's Cube, they do have those competitions.
They're huge.
Yeah.
People get into it.
Or cup stacking.
Yep, I've done a little bit of cup stacking.
Yeah, or bottle flipping.
Oh, flipping the bottle, yep. All those little tricks.
Yeah, exactly. Or those
fun little things.
People on like, social media where they're doing like those trick shots.
Yeah, yep.
Like, I think some of the trick shots you have to be athletic.
Some of them, yes.
But most of them not.
No, most of them not.
Most of them you just have to get lucky.
Darts.
Darts
is another one for me. I like darts.
Do you ever remember the movie Kingpin?
I don't know if I've seen that one.
Kingpin is a 90s movie with Bill Murray and Woody Harrelson.
Oh, I might have seen that one.
It's the bowling one.
Yes.
Yeah. I remember he takes this Amish kid and tries to turn him into a professional bowler. And I remember one of the scenes they go, I've never been around so many like great athletes, and it's all these big fat guys eating hot dogs and drinking beer. Yeah. I was like, okay.
What peak performance looks like.
Yeah, this is what peak performance looks like. So that's why, honestly, that scene popped into my head the second I saw this list. I was like, I got to put bowling on there.
Nice.
So, but let us know what your top 5, or at least one of your, and one that we didn't think about the non-athletic competitive activities. The what did we dub it yesterday? NACA. What's one of your NACAs? So, but moving on to our Ask a Sensei. All right, this week we got some pretty fun questions, so we'll see what happens.
See what happens with these questions.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with these questions. First question is your favorite and least favorite chore as a kid.
As a kid.
So when you were a kid,
we both had to do chores, right?
Yes, I had to do chores, and we were in that day and age.
Since my parents had multiple young men.
Yes.
So they were able to easily just divide out the chores and, expect the clean house at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Did it happen all the time? No.
Yeah.
But my chores were, I took out the trash.
Okay.
I cleaned the bathroom every Friday. And I was a part of the watering squad. So I had outdoor chores too.
Yeah.
So I got to water down all the plants that my dad was growing.
Yeah.
So my favorite chore was the watering.
The watering?
Basically you were just spraying water.
Yeah.
Now, did I do it right? Probably not, because I liked adjusting the different layers on the hose.
Yeah.
And so he was asking for a shower or a mist setting, and sometimes I would turn it to the spray, the jet setting. And
yeah. Because
we wouldn't have beans that year.
It turned it into a gun.
Yeah, it turned it into a gun. I'm like, this is cool.
Pow, pow, pow. Like, I shot off all the things on the tree, Dad. Yeah. You're like, what?
No, don't do that. Those are.
That's what we're supposed to eat.
Yeah. That was a lot of fun. Plus, I didn't appreciate it at the time, but I was outdoors.
Yeah.
I was like this close to being in the mud.
Yep.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
If you were outdoors not doing chores, you were like playing in the dirt.
Yeah, exactly.
You would get your army guys and you go out there
Yep.
and do that stuff, and that was a lot of fun. Least favorite chore, that depends. If there was, if for the youngest brother, Jake, I was doing garbage at the time, so taking out the baby diapers was the grossest thing.
Yeah.
That stunk so bad.
Yeah.
I was just about to gag every time I looked at the trash can.
Yeah.
So that was bad moment.
Yep. But garbage, typically non-diaper related.
Non-diaper, it was okay.
It's whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, you just pick it up, take it 20 feet.
Yeah,
combine
them all so you don't have to replace all the bags. You just tip it out and shake it.
Yep.
Then you take the one full bag, you take it out, and then you replace that one bag.
Exactly.
Then you have people asking, why does my trash stink? Because I didn't replace the bag or whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
But cleaning the bathroom was probably the hardest chore. I guess it ties with least favorite.
Yeah.
Just because there was a very high level of expectation that was set for me, and I had to make sure I met it. Yeah. So I cleaned everything, and it's like, oh, man. And I had to get up onto the counter to get the mirrors and then get down, wipe the counter. Then I had to work from top to bottom.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I would dirty it.
Yeah, you would have to do it twice.
You have to do it twice, yeah.
No, you learned how to be efficient.
That's
Probably
right.
did that once, and you're like, what the heck?
Oh, I started at the wrong side.
Started at the wrong end. So,
yep.
All right.
Those are my two.
Yeah, I'm with you. I kind of had the same things. You clean your room, clean the bathrooms, dishes. When I got old enough, mowing the lawn, dog poop.
Oh, dog poop, yeah.
Picking up dog poop. Probably my favorite one, honestly, was probably cleaning my room.
Yeah.
Like, I just like to have a clean room.
That's nice.
So, I don't like living, or
you're not a part of American hoarders. You don't have all that stuff.
No, I collect things, but it's like it's all organized, and it's like it's in its place. But yeah, I just liked if I went into my room, like my space, it's like I like to have it fairly nice. I'm not like obsessive over it,
right?
Where it's like, oh my god, my sheets are wrinkled. Oh, I gotta fix. No, I'm not like that. Half the time, it was like my version of making the bed was I slept with one like blanket, and it was just like if it was on the bed, my bed was made. Yep. So now it's a little different. Now I kind of like to make my bed and all that stuff. So I would probably have to say cleaning my room was my favorite.
Okay.
Probably for selfish reasons because it like had a direct effect on me personally.
Yeah.
And it's like when it directly affects you personally, you're like, okay, I'm more willing to do it.
Yeah.
But, realistically, all the chores affected me personally, but it was like shared by everybody. So it's like if we had a clean bathroom, everybody used the bathroom, but I used the bathroom too. So, it
affected you.
It affected me.
Yeah.
I would probably have to say my least favorite was like washing dishes.
Washing dishes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I hated washing dishes just for the fact that it was like, you were done eating.
Now you had to work.
Now you had to work. So it's like, And me and my sister would take turns where it was like one person would wash, one person would dry.
Okay.
And then the next time the other person would wash, the other person would dry. Because we were our parents' version of a dishwasher.
Oh,
like we never had a dishwasher growing up as a kid. My probably second least favorite was cleaning the tub.
Cleaning the tub.
Cleaning the tub. I hated cleaning the tub.
Why?
Probably because it was like an odd angle. You had to like really scrub it. You know, you would use that powder Ajax and get it wet and then scrub, and then rinse it down. And I'm just like, this sucks.
Yeah.
I hate this. But all the outdoor stuff was I eventually liked that. Like mowing the lawn was fun.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I hate, dog poop always sucks, but
well,
that's the consequence of owning a dog.
Yeah, it's worth it though.
You gotta, because you got
still get the dog.
Those furry companions.
Now, if it isn't your dog that's pooping out of your yard, then you have to deal with that.
Then it's like, what the heck?
Where's all this dog poop coming from?
Yeah, our dogs don't even go in the front yard.
We don't even have a dog.
Yeah, exactly. I've got to go out and clean the dog poop again. Like, why? We don't have a dog. Yeah, I don't. Mind your own business.
Yeah.
So I would probably dare say that those were my favorite and least favorite. I think it's a good habit for children to do chores, not as a quote unquote free labor, but it helps build the work ethic and the character, and to teach them to respect the things around them.
It does. It does help them.
Yeah.
And it gives value too. Like if I had this conversation actually in class Tuesday night with these adults, like Braden, he gets an allowance only if he does all his chores. And that puts a value to his allowance.
Yeah.
And then Kai doesn't get an allowance, but does chores anyway.
Yeah. Same with Arvika.
Yeah. And it's like, well, here's the thing. You're still contributing to the household. Like, are you being given free food? Are you given food? Are you given shelter?
Yeah.
Are you being driven where you want to go?
Exactly.
So it's like,
if he has to go to the movies,
will they take you to the movies?
Will they take you to the movies?
Yeah. And then the answer was yes.
Yeah. Because I never got paid for chores, but I also never had to quote unquote beg for a lot of things.
Yeah.
So like if I needed something, my parents were really good at being like, yeah, okay, that's reasonable. Yeah, I mean, obviously, if it was unreasonable,
it's like, no.
Yeah, it's like
nice
hard no. But like, if we wanted to go to the movies or fun stuff like that, they were very reasonable on like, hey, you really haven't done anything this week. Like, until you do this, then yeah, we'll go. And it's like, okay, that makes sense.
That's an interesting approach. My parents did kind of the opposite. They paid me for everything. Like I had a spreadsheet essentially that I had to check off. Like, oh, did I make my bed today? Yes. Yeah. Did I do this? Yes. Did I do homework? Yes. And then like at the beginning of the month, I got paid my age in dollars.
Yeah.
So it was interesting. But then if I wanted to do something, I had to save for it.
And I think both of them are solid learning tools done correctly.
Yeah.
Because I think when you pay children for their chores, it gets them in that mindset of you're being paid for your time and your efforts.
Right.
And you value your time.
Yes.
It teaches you how to value your time. And as you get older, sometimes, yes, you do just need to donate and do it because it's the right thing to do. But at the same time, it's like it's getting you in the habit of like, hey, you're using your skills and your talent and your time. You need to be compensated for it. And I really like the building of like, hey, if you want something, you got to save up for it. I think that's a great thing.
It helped you as a young kid figure out when the sales
were. And you valued what you had more.
Yeah.
And I think I have figured this out, like obviously later on in life, but anytime I personally bought something, I valued it
way more.
And took care of it way more.
Yeah.
As opposed to if someone just gives you something, yeah, you like it and you appreciate it. But if it gets damaged or broken, you're not, it's like, oh, whatever. Like you didn't sacrifice to get it.
Yeah.
But the second you sacrifice your time and efforts to obtain it, man, you tend to value it and take care of it a lot better.
It's important to you.
Yeah, it is important to you. So, yeah, absolutely. I'm a firm believer in, like, if they want something specific, yeah, like a toy or a technology, yeah, making them earn some of it, I think that's good lessons for them. Because then they'll value it and take care of it more. So,
yep.
But, I mean, I'm also not opposed to where you just do it because you do it because you're contributing a member of the family. This is how you contribute to the household.
Yep.
Like, we're not expecting you to go get a job and pay bills.
Right.
So this is how you, I don't want to say show your value, but this is, like you said, how you contribute.
Yeah.
Because everybody has different levels of value to a family.
Right.
And children, they're not supposed to add a lot of value to a family. Eventually they will add value to the family, but they're learning. They're in that learning phase.
They're being taught.
Yeah, they're being taught how to,
the important parts of the family.
Exactly. Exactly. So, but yeah, interesting discussion on that.
Yeah, what are some of your favorite or least favorite chores? Comment down below.
Absolutely. I like to hear what people's take is on chores. Did they have to do chores? I think older generations, it was like expected
but
to do chores.
I'm looking at some of these kids, I'm like, they've not
done
anything.
Yeah, you can tell that they don't do much. So yeah, it's interesting because then you see kids that grew up with chores, and as they get older, they don't like to do nothing.
Yeah, that's true.
So
yeah, there's both sides of that. Some kids have it ingrained to be like, oh, I got to work hard.
Yep.
When now that they're older, and then some people are like, well, I've done my time. I'm gonna take it easy.
Yeah, it's funny because when you're expected to do things, like it's funny how people step up. Like we kind of joke about this with Maya all the time. When she was living at home, she wasn't bad by any means, but like, man, she didn't help out around the house. Her room was a mess. Like, it was a disaster. But she was a great kid.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this isn't a knock on her at all. She's a great kid. But the second she moved out, man, her house is clean. Yeah. She puts stuff away. Like, she's all like, damn, like, I can't live like this.
Right.
And she's paying for everything in her house. So now she treats it
high value.
High value. Yeah. So it's funny how that works and how people all of a sudden that switch gets flipped on. You're just like, oh, things got to change.
Yep.
So, and I've started to notice that with Jamin, where his room is dirty, and he's a young man, so he, it's just like, I want him to, like, dude, clean your room. Like, how can you live like this? But at the same time, after listening to a couple of books and talking with Shannon and all that stuff, the more I push him to do it, the more it's going to push him away. So I have to just accept that, hey, this is how it's going to be. And eventually he will change when he's ready to change. I don't have to be that drill sergeant, like drill it down his head. Clean. Like, you live in this house, you keep your room clean, right. Damn it, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, okay. No, I mean, it's his stuff. How he chooses to value his stuff is his decision. And when he does, like, let's say, clean his room or does something where it's like he normally doesn't do it, then you have to make sure that you praise and acknowledge that. Yeah. Because then that will create that habit of like, okay, I need to do this more.
The same thing in the dojo. You know, when a usually rambunctious kid is suddenly acting in good behavior, you call it out.
And then all the other kids follow suit.
They're like, whoa, if that guy can do it, I better do it.
Yep. It's very funny how that works. Because if you are constantly acknowledging the kids that are disruptive, all the kids become disruptive.
They want the attention.
Because they want the attention. But if you acknowledge the kid that's doing what they're supposed to and being quiet or being in front position, and you acknowledge that, then it's like a domino effect, literally. You start to see every single kid get in front position. And you're like, okay, that's what we got to do with these guys. So, but moving on to our next question is, what one thing you believe kids in school/college should learn that was not taught?
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. What one thing kids should learn that isn't taught?
Or multiple things, like whatever.
Oh man, I think there should be more emphasis on financial literacy.
I agree.
I think that it needs to be more of a required course, and it needs to be more of a practical course. Like, hey, this is how you manage a household.
Yeah,
this
budgeting.
Is how you budget. This is how you prepare for taxes.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
taxes. Nobody talks about taxes.
About that.
You know, right now we're right in the middle of tax season.
That's almost over.
So yeah, next week.
Yeah. So
what is it? Tuesday?
Yeah, Tuesday.
Tax day. Yeah, but nobody talks taxes. I agree.
I think that's huge. I mean, if we had a more financially educated culture here in America, I think we would be way better off. It would pay off so much. We'd have a better nation.
Yeah.
But because we are so dependent on just letting it happen, be like, oh, I'm just gonna have this money, and a lot of people are living paycheck to paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
A lot more than you think, and it's tough. Like, you have to learn to get out of that, and it needs to be taught in school how to get out of that. But
yeah,
it's not.
And I understand that people are going through hard times, and you know, some situations are better than others. Mm-hmm. Some cities, some states are better than others. We're not trying to say that everybody's living in the same situation, but everybody has the same opportunities to improve their situation. So, I can't remember who I was talking to about this. I think I was talking to Mary Lee. I think for people going into professional athletics, like professional sports, man, they have to go to college for at least a year for most sports to be eligible to go to the, like, you know, major leagues of whatever it is. I don't want to say they have to go to college. They have to be a certain age.
They have to be
the NBA, it's 20 now. The NFL, I think it's 21. I think that's it. So you have to either choose to go to college or go overseas and play professionally overseas. I feel like if you choose to go to college, as an athlete, you have to, like you just said, take some sort of financial literacy classes. Okay, because I think the alarming statistic is all professional athletes, not all, I think about 50 to 60% of professional athletes go broke after they retire within 3 years. And you're like,
they make so much money that it's hard to comprehend.
Exactly. It's like
they can just keep spending.
Like you have $10 million. What do you mean you're broke?
I think we saw a Shaq on Hot Ones.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, I spent $50 million in a night. I bought my dad a new Lincoln or whatever.
Yeah. And luckily he had a banker that was his friend at the bank he was at, and he had to pull him in and be like, you're $150,000 in the hole.
Yeah.
And he goes, what are you talking about? He goes, well, nobody told him that his manager got 25% of his income, or nobody told him that about taxes.
Yeah.
Nobody told him about these things. And then he found out that very high statistic of athletes go broke after they retire. And he's like, that's not going to be me.
Right.
He refused to let it be him. And now he's very successful, very wealthy, and he's very generous as well. So I definitely agree with you. I think some sort of financial literacy, like even like simple things like you just said, budgeting. I mean, I know they're not really a thing anymore, but nobody knows how to write a check.
Right.
How do you read a bank statement? How to balance your checkbook?
Yep.
Like, those are things that are not taught. So I think that would be a great one. Then I also think like a manners class.
A manners class.
Yeah.
Etiquette.
Some sort of etiquette class. Like, hey, this is how you behave in these situations. I'm not talking like, you know, this fork is for this thing. Like, not to that level, but simple things like, hey, if there's people behind you, open the door for them.
Yep.
Or keep the door open for them, saying please and thank you.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
I mean, it's things that a lot of people take for granted, but yet when you do them in today's society, people look at you like, what?
Yep.
Like, I can't tell you how many people are like, that was very nice of you, when I just say thank you. Or like, hey, have a good day. Oh, wow, thank you. I was like, wow. So if someone's saying that to me, that must have been the first thank you they've heard all day. Mm-hmm. And it's like, that's sad. To me, that's sad.
Yeah.
So I would say some sort of like etiquette class, like shaking it. With all the young men here, I always tell them, it's like, you're going to learn how to shake someone's hand.
Yep.
Because some people aren't taught that.
Yeah.
So
I think that's a really good thing that we need that isn't taught.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you have to go to special schools to learn something. They have to go like finishing schools in Europe or something to figure that out. It's like, I don't want to be a pompous aristocrat. We just do that here.
Exactly. No, and like we've been talking about, just simple things.
Yeah.
Very simple things.
Yep.
So I personally think those are two great things that should be taught.
There's definitely some more.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're listening, let us know what you think should be taught in schools that wasn't taught when you were in schools.
I also think the ability to think.
The ability to critically think.
Critically think or come up with your own ideas.
Interesting.
Because unfortunately, school itself, I mean, education, I believe, is one of the most important things you can do for yourself.
Yep.
But modern school is just teaching you how to memorize, not learn.
Okay.
So I think there's a huge difference between school and learning.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely agree.
So, I mean, a lot of people would disagree with me on that, but...
Okay, so let me ask you this. What is one thing that you learned outside of school? Or what's the biggest thing you've learned outside of school?
Outside of school? Honestly, is the ability to listen and think.
Yeah. That's
outside of school.
That would be mine too.
Yeah. Like I learned information in school, but I didn't know how to think in school.
You didn't, I don't know. I didn't really ask the teacher if questions like to critically and analyze what the information was being.
I think that's another good thing that you just said, the asking questions, to be able to openly ask a question to either one, have a greater understanding, or two, I don't want to say challenge the norm, but like get people to think.
Yeah.
The only way you can get people to think is to ask questions.
And I know it's not the case, but in school, when you're raising your hand all the time to ask questions, people think that, oh, he's not smart.
Yeah.
He doesn't get it.
Or they're trying to be a teacher's pet.
They're trying to be a teacher's pet and be engaging. You know, get those citizenship points or whatever.
Well, I think it's also... we accidentally train kids not to ask questions.
Right.
Because when you're younger, you always get the, well, why?
Yeah.
Why? And then eventually you're like, just stop it.
Mm-hmm.
Stop asking questions. It's like, oh, God, we got to be really careful about that.
There's two edges to that sword. Because it's like, maybe they truly don't know, or maybe they just know that gets under your skin.
Yeah.
And so you have to follow up with a question of your own, be like, oh, well, what do you not understand?
Yeah. So, like, we see it a lot with, like, the juniors and the kids. Yeah. Like, when we're talking, they'll raise their hand and be like, well, what if this? Then, like you just said,
hypothetical?
Then you just have to pose it back to them and be like, are you legitimately asking, or are you just trying to be a smart ass?
Right.
Think about it. Be like, would this scenario possibly ever happen? Let's talk actual facts.
Yep.
Well, no, then you don't need to ask that question because it's not true. Or do you genuinely not understand? Be like, I don't understand. Be like, okay, well, then let's answer that question. So, but I agree. A lot of times when they're younger or when they're older, they'll ask a lot of whys just because they know it's either going to get you upset or because they truly don't know. Mm-hmm. And if you truly don't know, always the dumbest question is the one not asked.
Right.
So the ability to freely ask questions. Because again, even in school, it's like they have a curriculum and they have things that they need to get to. And they just are like, we don't have time to answer that question. We got to move on. It's like, ooh, that stinks. And I have to even remind myself to answer questions legitimately that are asked here. Because it's like, dude, we don't have time to talk about that. It's like, that is, and I need to, if that's ever the case, it's like, that is a great question. And I would love to answer it, but we don't have the time to get into that right now. So let's ask it later. Like, I never want to try to shut down anybody's ability to ask a question.
Right. They're still welcome to ask a question, but we also need to time and place it.
Yeah.
So that's not interrupting or disruptive.
I agree. But that's I think those are 3 good things that I think should be taught that aren't really taught in schools nowadays.
Nice.
So, but like you said, let us know if there's anything that you would have liked to learn while you were in school that you didn't, but then all of a sudden when you're interacting with the world, you learned it. So
yeah.
I think another one, and this isn't one that you can really teach, it just has to happen, but like, I'm all for free speech, but free speech comes with a price too.
It does.
So you have to take the good with the bad. So you say the wrong thing to the wrong person, you might get punched in the face.
Yep, that's just what happens.
So, or you say the right thing to the right person and it changes their life.
Yep.
So I think free speech is the greatest thing to ever have, but you do have to understand that you can't control people's reaction to it. So, but moving on to our third and final question, it is, if you had to eat the same kind of food at least once a day, what would it be?
Are you saying I could have any food provided to me, but it has to be the same kind once a day?
Yes.
Oh, man. How far does this go? Because, I mean, you could say sandwich, and then you could have different kinds of sandwiches.
Sure.
But it's the same kind of food.
But it's a sandwich. Yeah.
Because I'd say that.
A sandwich?
You'd still get multiple varieties.
Yeah. That's a good one. I didn't really think of that one. That one would have been good. I kind of thought like eggs.
Eggs?
Yeah.
You can prepare them
you can have
multiple
eggs
ways.
any way you want. So
but they're still eggs.
They're still eggs. So I thought of that.
A burger.
Burgers. Honestly, there's a lot of things that I wouldn't mind having at least once a day.
I wish I could get a burger once a day.
That'd be good. Or pizza.
A pizza. Wow.
Yeah. Because then there's tons of variations of pizza.
A variety of toppings.
Yeah. So.
Oh, wow.
There's a lot of things I wouldn't mind having once a day.
Yeah. That'd be nice.
So.
That'd be nice.
It's interesting because I obviously I've got kind of a sweet tooth, but like nothing on the sweet tooth spectrum like popped into my head.
No, you don't want the same sweet thing every day.
No.
It's gross. It gets very sickly sweet.
Yeah, and it gets to the point where you don't like it.
Yep.
So, but I think things that you can have variations of is totally on the list.
Yep.
Like you said, sandwiches, burgers, pizza, eggs. Like
salad.
even steak.
Steak.
Like if you had steak, the same kind of steak once a day, man, I wouldn't necessarily mind it.
It'd be fun for the first few weeks.
But you can't really vary it up too much.
No.
At that point, the way you vary it up is with sauces.
Mm-hmm.
And then the sauces
I'm assuming
more.
you have no control of the prep. Which
I don't think so. I mean, I think you can prep.
You can prep a little bit.
You can prep a little bit.
Like in the regards of a sandwich, but you get the same piece of steak.
Yeah.
For that one.
Mm-hmm.
But with a sandwich, you get like your sandwich ingredients and you can just combine them different ways.
You can incorporate it how you want.
Yes. Same with the pizza. You get the pizza and then you have your toppings.
Yeah.
And you have to put those two together for your mandated meal.
Yeah. And then eggs, like.
We'll just get some eggs.
Yeah, you can hard boil them, scramble them, over easy, fried.
Yeah.
Egg salad sandwiches.
Eggs by themselves, though, you need some things like egg salad sandwiches. That includes some bread.
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
Honestly.
Deviled eggs? Oh, man.
Oh, yeah, deviled eggs are great.
I'd honestly eat deviled eggs by themselves for probably a week before I change.
It's funny because deviled eggs and egg salad are the same thing.
They're the exact same.
One, the filling is on top of the hard-boiled egg, and it looks cool.
Yeah.
As opposed to all mixed together and incorporated.
A little bit like vomit, but not entirely.
Yeah. Have you ever had a deep fried deviled egg.
I've not had a deep fried deviled egg.
They're actually really good. They're a pain in the ass. They're a pain in the ass to make because they're very time consuming. Because deviled eggs themselves are time consuming.
They take up a lot of time.
But now you add an extra step in like battering them and then frying them, and then you put the stuff in them and then eat them. But they're good. They're way good.
Yeah.
I think the way I would probably, the last time I did it, it was like you put it in an egg wash and then you put like flour, like some sort of breading over them. I think if I did them again, I would do like a beer batter.
Oh, wow.
So then cut down on a step.
Yep.
So, and it's less messy. So that's what I would do. But those are all great things. I didn't think of sandwiches. That's a great one. And burgers. Again, then we go back to, is a sandwich a burger?
So the burger's a sandwich.
Or a burger's a sandwich.
A burger is a sandwich.
Yeah. Just different type of inners.
Right.
It's something between two pieces of bread.
Right.
So, all right. But moving on to our fight scene. All right, this week's fight scene is a team up. I shouldn't see a team up. It's a team fight. It's one group versus another group.
Two teenagers.
Yeah, they are technically teens.
Both
I think.
Teenagers.
Both teenagers. We've got the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles versus the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Oh, man. Oh, wow.
Yes. All right. So now let's say the first round is in the sewers of New York City.
Okay.
Which that would be disgusting, but
hey.
As a kid, you see those sewers on the movie set of the movies, and you're like, I want to live in the sewers,
that looks
Mom.
So fun. Look,
Mom, let me live in the sewer.
It's got a water feature.
Yeah, it's got running water. Look, we can totally live there. No, wrong. Man. That would be bad. Everybody forgets that's where wastewater goes, people.
That's gross.
That's gross. Turtles swimming in filth.
Yep.
But I would have the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles just kicking the crap out of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Yes, the Turtles would win this one. I agree. I think the weaponry and the big machines of the Power Rangers would be able to fit down there.
Nope.
So they're kind of just disarmed, or they have small weapons.
Mm-hmm.
And so then the Turtles, and they're obviously they have home field advantage, but they're also ninjas.
Yeah. So you wouldn't even see them.
You wouldn't even see them. They just knock them out one at a time.
Yep. And their suits are so bright.
Yeah, they're
and colorful.
Reflective neon almost.
They wouldn't blend into anything. Versus the Turtles.
They
like
look
you
like
said,
poops.
they're ninjas.
Yep.
You know, they would blend into the entire surroundings. They wouldn't even.
Yep.
They wouldn't even know what hit them before they were out.
Yep.
So I got the Turtles winning in round one, but now we've got
Morphin base.
They're outside in the air elements.
Yep.
This is where, like you said, the Rangers, whatever.
They'll get their Mechazord.
That's right, Mechazord. Their whatevers, and then they combine to that Transformer-like creature.
Yep.
Is that a Mechazord?
Yep.
Yeah. I can't remember the terminology.
I don't know why I remember the terminology. It just comes to me apparently.
But yeah, they would obviously go right into that. They would try going hand to hand.
No, I don't think they get close because there's so many weapons that the Power Rangers have that are big that they just get them from afar.
Well, that's where it like starts. Like in the show, they would always start off hand to hand.
Yeah.
And then the bad guy would get big from whatever, and then that's when they'd call their creatures over.
They have to morph. And they get into their creatures. Yeah.
Morphin' time.
Yep.
So yeah, I definitely think that the Mechazord would take out the Turtles.
Okay. So 1-1.
1-1. Now, normally we say we strip away the powers, but if we did that, then they would just be 4 Turtles versus
4
teenagers.
Regular Turtles.
And that's not very exciting. So we're going to take away their weapons.
So no weapons.
No weapons, but the Rangers are in their morphed state, not their teenage state.
Okay.
And the Turtles are in their mutant state,
not their turtle state.
Not their turtle state. Okay. But they don't have the Mechazords. They don't have the ninja weapons. It's
don't
just
have the guns.
No guns, just hand-to-hand combat.
Okay, that's going to be closer.
It's going to be closer, but I think just the size of the turtles and the fact that they're
They're still mutants.
They're still mutants, and they're still ninjas.
You can take away the weapons, but you can't take away their
skill. Yeah, and just, I mean, and I'm assuming we're going off of like the most recent iterations of the turtles, where they're like huge.
Yeah, where they're bigger than the humans.
Yeah, they're way bigger, and I think they're just going to be bigger and stronger.
Okay.
So I got the turtles kind of easily.
I think you can't take away the turtle shells, and that's just armor. And you're not gonna punch through that.
Nope.
So I think it'll be a close fight. There'll be a lot of flipping around and stuff.
And I think the turtles will work better together.
I think because they're the four brothers will work better together.
They've grown up together. They know how each other moves. They know their strengths and their weaknesses.
Yep.
The Power Rangers are friends.
They're friends,
but they're brought together later. So they have a distinct disadvantage in teamwork. Yes. Yeah. So I totally got the turtles winning in a cage.
Me too. I don't see the Morphin Rangers without their weapons winning against turtles. So
no, I mean sometimes they had a tough time with those like clay people.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they had a tough time with those clay things.
Yeah.
Not going to stand a chance against turtles.
That's right.
So, but I got them winning 2-1.
Me too.
And that is that. So let us know who you think would win, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. But moving on to our Joke of the Week. This week's Joke of the Week is, what's orange and sounds like a parrot?
What?
A carrot.
A carrot.
A carrot.
Does an apple a day keep a doctor away?
I don't know, does it?
Only if you can aim well.
Oh, yeah, only if you throw it hard enough.
You gotta throw it.
There you go. But let us know your favorite joke. If you got one, we'll keep telling them to Paige's dismay. Because she's like, you want to hear a joke? Your jokes aren't funny. Ha, 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 ha. Like, whatever. Our jokes are hilarious. We're going to have her on the show during the summer with her dad, and her dad will laugh, and she'll be like, and she'll be visibly shaking her head. Everybody will be laughing. Alexa will laugh. Google will laugh. Siri will laugh. Yep. And then we'll all run away.
Then we'll realize that we're being watched.
Then we'll be watched and listened to. But any shout-outs for the week?
I actually will shout out Paige this week. Tuesday was rough. We had a very young student come in that really wanted his mom and was very adamant that we call his mom.
Yep.
And we didn't want to.
No.
But Paige took care of this young student and did a really good job. So good job this week, Paige. I appreciate it.
Paige, you're a rock star. I agree. She stepped up in that manner and handled herself very well and very composed. And she even said, she goes, I had to bring out my stern voice.
Yeah.
And I was like, really? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, okay, look at you. You're not just the good cop all the time. Way to go. Strike a little fear into these kids.
Yep.
But yeah, she's been doing phenomenal lately. We're very proud of her. I think she's going to do great at the tournament.
Absolutely.
So I'm excited for her. But Paige, great job. I know you're probably not going to listen to this, but eventually we'll get you to listen to it. But everybody listening will know that you're a great person, and pretty soon you'll be walking down the halls and be like, you're Paige, right? Like, yes. Like, I heard about you on the show the other day. So, but great job, Paige. Any final thoughts to leave the people with?
No, just be grateful for what you have.
Yeah. Like I said, I've been listening to a bunch of books lately, and one of them is really big on gratitude and gratefulness, and a lot of times we take that for granted, and we're always so goal looking ahead oriented, which is great, but it puts us in this constant state of like not being good enough.
Right.
And sometimes, not all the time, sometimes you need to take a stop, take a minute and be like, okay, take a look at where you are and then look at where you've come from. Like, damn, I've gone a long way. I still got some ways to go, but I've come a long way, and you should feel very, very proud about that. So take a minute, be grateful, show some gratitude, and try to make somebody's day a little bit better. You know, like we talked about with the etiquette. say hi, say please, say thank you. You know, if you're from the South, like a lot of my dad's family's from the South, it's yes, ma'am, no, ma'am.
Yep.
Or yes, sir, no, sir. You know, that's what they expect. So, but be a good friend, change somebody's life, change their day, make an impact in a positive way, and just let people know anytime they see you, be like, that's a good person.
Yep.
Just how you interact with other people. So, but have a great week, everybody. We will talk to you next week, and then the week after that, we'll talk to you on a special time after the tournament.
Wow. Okay.
So it'll be a great experience. So we'll be able to talk about the tournament experience right after the fact. So, but thanks for joining us, everybody, and have a great week.
Kick it with us next week. Bye, everyone.